Yo guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be watching The Manosphere Hates Western Women. I'm going to be real. I think everybody hates Western women, including Western women. We can't confirm that, of course. But obviously that was a joke. But my whole thing is, I'm trying to understand, what do they classify as the Manosphere? Because to these people, I'm assuming the Manosphere is always extremes, i.e. Andrew Tate, all of the above. But like, most of the Manosphere, right? Most of it's not in the mainstream. Most of it is just, more time if you go on like YouTube and shit, it's just single dads. Oh, my wife left me, I guess, and stuff like that. What they care about is what's actually thinking, yo bro, why do we listen to feminism? What is this? Why are we entertaining it? That's what they like feel attacked by, so they want to attack it. You know what I'm saying? Really and truly. Because all it's doing is questioning the sheer stupidity of feminism today. Of course. But anyways, let's get into it.
I'll be fully honest with you, I am about 6-7 hours in watching clavicular content in the hope of finding something interesting to say about him, but...
The problem is, I feel like I'd be kind of skeptical you were just trying to green card Max.
I knew. Immediately we go to clavicular, of course. Absolute degenerate. But my whole thing is, clavicular is the logical ending of what this progressive movement pushes. What the leftist nihilistic mindset pushes. This is just the logical ending, respectfully.
That's why I worry about you Eastern Europeans. I don't think that women should have to work jobs at all. I think that they should be provided for. I'm really not too far off from a homeless guy. I do all the same that they do. I just have a lot of money. It's a mega waste of time
going out on dates and stuff like that. Well, what about like connecting with her because you like her?
I always find it funny
like
when people will call clavicular and these type of degenerates. Oh my gosh, they're right-wing conservative. No. They're just degenerates that just don't like women. I feel like they take it's women. Oh, he has to be a right-winger. No. He's just a degenerate that just hates women.
You know, like maybe you want to start a family.
But where's the ROI in that?
What's that?
Return on investment.
He could absolutely be captured, bro.
A reflection of the man that you intend on being with.
Well, I've had favorite chip in here.
Well,
this is just good old Manosphere stuff, really.
I don't want to feel your micro.
When I fucked you the first time, I couldn't get hard.
I told you, nothing new. Clavicular's most popular videos on YouTube are the ones involving some form of speed dating. Those videos tend to be more curated than his long streams.
You know what I would never understand, right? If I'm a drug dealer and I keep selling drugs, you know what I'm saying? I will be looked down upon standard, right? That was a bad analogy because I really just realized how retarded it sounds. Let's go back. Why does nobody ever ask, yo bro, why are so many women going to these type of people? You know what I'm saying? They're misogynists, quote unquote. You know what I'm saying? That's their whole thing. Like, they think misogyny is the end of the world. So they say these people are misogynists. Why are all these women chasing him? Are we ever going to question this? Because they're so... Even in going into the Manosphere with that Louis Theroux guy, it was always on the tunnel vision, the man. But nobody ever says, is he wrong? Because it's working for him, no? Am I bugging? Am I missing something? It's definitely degenerate. But the women are responding to it respectfully. And degenerates, like their audience, enjoy it because they want to be degenerates. They just can't do it.
He goes clubbing, takes pictures, and gets surrounded by Gen Z girls drawn to this guy's looks and clout. I don't judge these women for doing so. Back in my day, some of us would
Here we go. I don't judge these women. But you judge the man they're chasing? Interesting. That's very interesting.
For hours to get a picture with the Abercrombie guys. But anyway, what drew my attention among the...
So let me understand this correctly. You will judge clavicular for just being a man and, you know what I'm saying, doing what he got to do. He's a degenerate, but let's be real. Every man wants to sleep with a lot of women. You know what I'm saying? We have an urge. A lot of men just control themselves. A lot of men don't have the ability to do that, of course. That's standard. My whole thing is, why are you trying to shame him? Because he's just doing it. They're the ones chasing him. I'm confused of how we can even logically even get to this point.
The chaos of clavicular's online presence.
And half of these girls have boyfriends. So they're even more degenerate than him.
Is the repeated mention of this.
You're from Poland. Usually they're not as westernized over there.
Westernized girl. That's me, I guess. I was born and grew up in France. I'm probably the worst type of westernized girk. French women have their reputation. We are ruthless with men.
The fall of the...
Why is that? I'm trying to understand. Why did they use this as, oh my gosh, yes, like I said, achievement. It's a deterrent. Nobody wants that. It's disgusting. What are we talking about?
That's essentially.
Now, jokes aside, I feel like...
And when he says Western women, really and truly what he means is belligerent masculine women. Nobody wants that.
The sense of what westernized girl means, but I haven't seen anyone take the time to sit down and fully explain it. Who can be a westernized girl? Who cannot? Where is the line drawn in the us versus them? And why do Manosphere men hate westernized girls so much?
It's women that hate femininity. It's women that hate being feminine. they see it as like an attack on feminism, on their independence. You know what I'm saying? Women that have feminism as a personality trait.
Here I am, my name's Alice. Welcome back to my channel. Guys, allow me just 1 minute to tell you about today's sponsor, Surfshark. You love my job, but it forces me to move around a lot. I'm always researching, interviewing, sometimes I speak at events or collaborate with other creatives, and because of that I have to constantly move from cafes, airports, hotels, or whatever free Wi-Fi I can connect to for just a few minutes.
Okay.
Still sounds convenient, until you remember that most public Wi-Fi is basically wide open. Anyone on that network could, in theory, emails, passwords, private messages, all of that. And since I'm often uploading files or sending things last minute, I used to just hope nothing sketchy was happening in the background. That's why I started using Surfshark. I have it on my laptop and on my phone, which are the two devices I rely on the most when I'm traveling. It encrypts my connection, hides my IP, and makes all my online activity much harder to track. As a female content creator, that level of privacy is really important to me.
As a female,
at events they were not in there when I'm researching or when I'm planning things is something indeed. Surfshark goes beyond the VPN.
What's the difference?
It blocks trackers and ads, monitor your personal info for leaks, and one account protects unlimited devices if you want your whole household covered. And by the way, if like me you travel often, it is super helpful for keeping up with your favorite shows.
This is a test on my patience. I lost patience.
That are blocked in certain places. You can simply switch your virtual location and keep working like normal. Now if you want to try it, and I highly recommend it, you can go to surfshark.com/Alice or use my code Alice at checkout to get 4 extra months of
I bet. Alice.
Surfshark VPN. Thank you Surfshark for sponsoring the video, and now let's go back to it. So I started this research by trying to find the oldest references to the phrase westernized girl, or at least references to comparisons between Eastern and Western girls. From that research, I can say that there are 3 historical contexts that promoted the use of that phrase: European travel literature, colonialism, and globalization. Let's take
globalization maybe, but I'm saying definitely globalization, because you can compare at that point.
To start with, as I was researching, a name came up a few times: Pierre Loti. In 19th century France, travel writer and soldier Pierre Loti incorporated fictional elements into his travel writings, which served to establish some of the most enduring Orientalist tropes in the world of arts. Now, Orientalist is a reference to the essay by Edward Said, which defines a Western tendency to represent the East as exotic and mysterious, as by projecting their own fantasies, fears, and moral judgments onto people and cultures they don't fully understand. In Loti's Asiade in 1879, the author doesn't really show the Orient as a real lived society. He turns it into a world of dreams and mystery. Drawing on his own travel journal from Ottoman Turkey, he tells the story of a love affair with a young harem woman.
1 second. I see what she's doing here, right? But it's not... You can try to overcomplicate like this. A lot of men don't think like this. I think this is just like a woman thing. Most of the time, right, they are born in the West, Western countries. When I say West, I mean Australia, UK, France, most of Europe and America, right? And obviously I miss some countries, but you get the point. The women there are masculine as shit. They're belligerent, they're disagreeable. Nobody wants to deal with that. They're borderline men, right? They've been captured by feminism and they're borderline men, right? So most men don't want to deal with that, right? They don't want to deal with that headache. So then they go abroad and then they see other women that are actually feminine and enjoy being in their femininity. And then they enjoy that. I don't understand what the complications of. Obviously, a lot of men do get drugged, robbed, and absolutely beat the hell out of them. But a lot of them still find happiness. We can confirm.
Asiade herself is less a fully realized person than a white-veiled, almost ghostly figure. But you see, in order to have an Eastern other, you also need a Western default. The construction of an other served to better define what it means to be a Westerner, as the Westerner was often represented in opposition to the Eastern, Asian, and African. Loti and many other travel writers of the time had a huge influence on developing Orientalist tropes, this us versus them paradigm that was magnified during the era of colonization. Colonialism often legitimized itself by using the us versus them paradigm popularized through the media. News and pictures of the colonies were shown in newspapers on the streets. Governments encouraged their populations to work and settle in the newly occupied lands, and mostly didn't prevent them from marrying local women. Westernization was often imposed on colonies, which were forced to abandon their culture and traditions to adopt those of the colonizer. But colonization also promoted the construction of new transport and communication communication infrastructures to allow Western powers to trade effectively with their colonies or protectorates. Those infrastructures facilitated cultural exchanges, including the development of Western soft power. For example, in many Asian cities, the local middle and upper classes took on Western styles and aesthetics. The Japanese moga and the Chinese modern girl were parallel icons of urban modernity in the 1920s and 1930s, and were both portrayed as westernized, fashionable young women who embraced new foreign consumer lifestyles. The Japanese moga emerged slightly earlier in Tokyo, modeled closely on American flappers and embodying individualistic rebellion against traditional gender norms. The Chinese modern girl, on the other hand, appeared mainly in cosmopolitan Shanghai, blending Western accessories and a modernized qipao, symbolizing the influence of foreign culture in a semi-colonial city. In both countries, the style was celebrated in advertising, yet criticized in newspapers and literature as materialistic or morally disruptive. In fact, Chinese women known as the May 4th intellectuals who advocated women's liberation often criticized the modern westernized girl, which appeared very different from their vision of modernity as socially transformative and rooted in the nation. Towards the mid-20th century, as colonial empires lost their legitimacy and had to grant colonies independence, infrastructures of communication and influence remained, and new ones emerged. Globalization is defined by the movement of people and information. Western soft power continued to grow through fashion, TV
now
shows,
it's just the NGOs that push
and
the
also
soft power.
through social movements and academia. The attitudes, styles, and ideas emerging in the West influence people around the world. At the same time, the whole idea of Western men seeking non-Western wives turned into a global business. International marriage agencies started popping up everywhere. This is when male order brides became a recognizable system. So men in the US or Europe looking for women in the Philippines, Thailand, Russia, or later Latin America, often because they imagined them as more traditional or family-oriented. By the 2000s...
They are, because their cultures are. You know what I'm saying? Their cultures are more family-oriented than the West. That is objectively true, I'll be honest.
Online dating and migration networks made cross-border marriages and relationships...
Well, not that parts of Asia. I'm talking about not Western nations.
Very accessible. This formed the basis for the emergence of the passport bros phenomenon in the 2020s. The trend grew alongside the Manosphere, a reaction to the Me Too movement. The passport bros complain about Western women.
The Manosphere wasn't a reaction to the Me Too movement. She talked about the red pill. The red pill definitely was.
And seeks to outsource their and love lives abroad, where again women are thought to be more traditional and submissive. This is obviously an oversimplification.
I'm trying to understand what's wrong with that.
Born out of Manosphere forums. I've spent quite some time on those forums, and it's clear to me that these often young men's understanding of women is limited to tropes that can be traced back to media representations in films, TV, fiction, video games. Now, despite not really fitting the image people have of guys on incel-friendly forums, Clavicular's view of women is very similar. He denies being part of the Manosphere, but is connected to it in
He's not part of the Manosphere.
Every single way.
There is an association in the press with looksmaxing and the sort of right-wing manosphere. Do you agree with that?
I've collaborated with like Crusade, like
do these people not understand what the word incel means? I'm confused. Like the way they use it is actually mentally retarded. Like you don't understand what the word means. Involuntarily celibate. He is the opposite of that. What are you talking about? He genuinely is never celibate. So how is he an incel? I'm trying to understand.
But that's my brand. I really don't care. Even if I were to hypothetically be right or left wing, it wouldn't change the fact that looksmaxing is apolitical.
His views on women are deeply misogynistic. He doesn't hide it. He uses edgy, misogynistic takes in his long streams as a strategy to keep viewers engaged.
Nobody of serious value wants their wife plastered in even bikinis all over Instagram. That's just ridiculous.
And they would say that's misogyny? They would say that's misogyny. How does that even make sense?
Ridiculous.
But he also...
How is that misogynistic? I'm trying to understand. Like, that word doesn't even mean anything anymore. At this point, it just means you say anything in a woman in a negative manner, no matter if it's true or not, now you're misogynistic. What the fuck are we talking about? That's like if I say, oh yeah, black go to jail more. Oh, you're racist. What?
He agrees with the foundation of misogyny, which is that women cannot make decisions for themselves. They don't know...
Women can't make decisions for themselves. So that's what misogyny means. I'm confused.
What they want. Science does, though. Every time he's confronted by a woman whose life experience contradicts these so-called scientific facts he learned on these forums, he dismisses them as exceptions, as westernized girls. But boy, if women have been fighting so hard for centuries to not be constrained by those natural facts, if a majority of Gen Z women identify as feminists, maybe that should be a signal that this is not so natural, that the way a person chooses to live their life isn't limited to biology.
Oh no, let's understand something. If it wasn't so natural, when feminism came up at the beginning, women would have conformed to it immediately. They didn't, because it was actively against the family unit and their natural order, okay? And they realized they have to capture society, which they did. So then they raised women through society, culture, media, all of the above, to be mentally grabbed by it. And the whole of society, of course. And men just reject it. You can keep pushing this narrative, oh, feminism is BS.
Impulses. We're social beings. After all, we are shaped and transformed by society. Clavicular won't admit it, but yeah.
Not completely. Do you see? The blank slate theory, these people...
He gets it. That's why he uses the phrase westernized. The term westernized, not western, puts the emphasis on an ideology or a culture rather than an identity or a biological reality. Being westernized is a process through which some women go through, making them less desirable for Manosphere guys.
And in general.
No, thanks.
It's like you can just, like, you don't even need to hear it. You could just see it.
No, I'm okay, thanks.
But I think...
And nobody's saying this doesn't happen anywhere else. It's just the mainstream in the West, right? There are fringe circles in Asia, in Africa, that you see this type of shit, right? Especially like in Nigeria and places like that. But in the West, it's everywhere.
Don't accept my no.
And it's celebrated and not demonized.
No means no. I'm a feminist.
As much.
Yeah, good no.
Being a feminist is a good no.
Interestingly, the two moments where I called...
I'm confused. Why would somebody want to date a feminist? I'll answer that question, please.
In the comments. Is when he was in discussion with Slavic women, which is a term used to refer to women coming from these regions you can see on the map. Now, this repeated interest in Slavic women caught my attention. We said that the Manosphere's understanding of women is limited to specific tropes shaped by media representation, as a lot of these guys don't talk to women or don't have female friends. Well, the Slavic woman is one of those often overlooked examples of these tropes. What I find interesting about the fetishization of women is this caricature to both the traditional and the sexual, the sensual.
People saying that women in Eastern Europe are less emancipated, or they have more traditional values, aka they want to have a family, or they want to have kids and they want to stay home. So I guess that's the traditional part of it, and I believe the sensual
because there's more family unit.
Part of it comes with implied exotic or Orientalism, I would say, almost, because there was an Iron Curtain, so the country was closed. People couldn't just go there and travel there. So there is a sense of
This is Daria, a writer and YouTuber who recently did a video on the representation of Slavic women, which caught my attention. Daria connects Slavic women's representations to something we talked about earlier, Orientalism, insisting that Slavic women's relative otherness increased by geographical distance and historical circumstances, like the Iron Curtain during the Cold War, creates a sense of mystery and exoticism which turns the Slavic woman into a sexual object. But that exoticism is counterbalanced by another reality which makes Slavic women more approachable to Western men like Clavicular. That thing is a shared skin color. Whiteness.
Well, right now, whiteness defined is just by your color of your skin, literally, but there is much more goes into it sociologically, economically, of whiteness is and how we define it. But
whiteness just being a white person. What the fuck are you talking about?
At the same time, because somebody appears is white, right, by their nationality, they're sort of they will assimilate faster. Okay, they'll just accept all the Western values and they will kind of down their own culture.
Clavicular says that Clark Kent, Matt Bomer, that's the actor, is objectively the most attractive guy. In your work, you talk about another stereotypical masculine figure, James Bond, who on multiple occasions flirts with Slavic women, including Tatiana Romanova. Tatiana Romanova works as a cipher clerk in the Soviet consulate during the Cold War, and she's supposed to lure James Bond into a trap, but ends up developing a romantic relationship with him and gives up her mission.
Funny.
In your opinion, what role does Tatiana Romanova play in the James Bond movie?
Metaphorically, kind of that, okay, she's being saved by the West. She's towards the superior Bond who represents British values and generally values overall.
These representations do have an impact on how Slavic women and Slavic people in general view themselves through the eyes of Westerners.
People understood that, well, it is worse here, or like the idea, right, that it is better in the West and we have to like or immigrate, or that you always feel like a bit inferior towards people from Europe or the West.
That's the point, bro. Propaganda works how it's meant to work. That's the point.
Somehow
This power imbalance can be perceived by someone like Clavicular, who can also take advantage of it.
Here we go with the power imbalances. Yo, bro. Oh my God.
That clip at the beginning of the video, he jokes like a middle-aged man about the possibility of being green card maxed by this young Polish woman, implying that he has the upper hand, he has the nationality he thinks Slavic women like her want. The young women, on the other hand, seem a bit shocked by what's happening to her.
That's funny because I don't know you before I go in this place.
And you just learned about me when you came here.
Exactly.
But that doesn't seem to
How did she
bother
get there?
Clavicular so much.
All right, so seems like you're a little nervous, but okay.
On the other hand, when presented with a girl who can articulate what she wants and respond to him in a way that doesn't just validate what he says, Clavicular's reaction shifts.
What is your idea of a first date?
I've never actually genuinely had a good one ever, to be honest. I've never really gotten asked out in person ever in my entire life, but...
That's not an answer to the question. That is the dumbest answer I've ever heard in my life. Let me explain. That is like me saying, what's your favorite color? I haven't actually like color. I haven't seen a color. So like I haven't really experienced a color. What's your favorite food? I haven't experienced food. What are we talking about? What the fuck is that?
You get kind of intimidated.
You can have an idea.
Thank you.
Now, I did raise an eyebrow when I heard this. This interaction was perfectly normal. She replied to his questions with complete sentences. She shows a decent sense of self and looked quite serious, but fun
That was a
nevertheless.
shit answer.
The fact that this interaction makes Clavicular think that she's intimidating is revealing of how little confidence he and other guys like him have in themselves. So what he likes in the Slavic women he met is primarily the fact that they don't have the ability to challenge him or even form a full sentence in English, not because they are dumb, but because they just don't speak.
Okay. Gives a yes, I want a challenging woman. Yes, please. Challenge me. No. We want somebody who is feminine and can have a conversation. Understand? Not somebody who's combative. That woman wasn't combative. But you see how she like frames it as though, oh my gosh, we want a submissive feminine woman. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't
the
understand
language fluently,
why they always
the rest is projecting the stereotypes Daria was talking about onto these women, regardless of their true personality or tastes. Okay, so now we have a better understanding of the phrase westernized girl. Westernized refers to both a consumerist, capitalist form of femininity, coupled with an egalitarian attitude towards relationship. In other words,
yes.
A westernized girl is a product of the successive waves of liberal feminism and
yes.
is embedded in a capitalist consumerist culture.
Yes.
There are valid criticisms of the westernized girl. The alliance of capitalism and feminism has given birth to girl boss feminism, for example, which empowers only a small percentage of women and keeps the vast majority of them struggling economically under the weight of the capitalist economy. This form of feminism remains imperfect because it refuses to
all forms of modern feminism are bullshit. I'm sorry to break it to you. I know all forms of feminism are bullshit, but specifically modern feminism.
Challenge the system that promotes and maintains the patriarchal norms it is seeking to fight against. What do I mean by that?
They don't care. They don't want to break the patriarchal norms. They all wanted to do these feminists today. Because let's be real, I'm tired of this. Oh my god, we were held back for 1,000 years. You were never held back. You weren't born in those times. Let's just stop this. I didn't benefit from those things. That was not us. You were born today. Let's keep it a buck. But one second. These women don't actually care about quote unquote liberation. They just wanted to be liberated from their duty, but they never accept a man not do his duty, right? The man is obligated to do his negotiation.
Capitalism and patriarchy
in their minds, of
work
course,
hand in hand. The free labor or unpaid labor.
Oh, here we go with the communism ideas. Manosphere.
Of women has a function in a capitalist economy. It's called reproductive labor, sometimes also called care work. It encompasses all the things that allow workers to go to work and be productive, and that work is often done by women, especially working class women, for free or for low pay.
Yes, because it's not a job. It's just taking care of the home. Same way you would do that if you didn't have a partner. It's not a job. It's the bare minimum. What are we talking about? In the past, it was definitely a job. Like, you actually had to wash the clothes by hand for hours. You had to, like, you know what I'm saying, make the food from scratch, get the that was a job. Now, you don't need to do shit. I'm sorry.
In that context, the criticism of westernized girl feels valid. It encourages people to recognize that the feminist movement cannot be detached from a critique of capitalism, as capitalism depends on the family, the free labor of women to reproduce capital, and the control of their sexuality to keep that capital in the family, generation after generation. If you
What the fuck was that? Huh? Let me understand this correctly. So she's saying capitalism is built off of family, of course, but also the sexual control of women and the and the generational wealth. This is why feminism, I'll never understand why it thinks it's like revolutionary. Let me explain. All these people are fighting for is communism, and communism in and of itself will always fail regardless of anything, right? Because at a certain point, the lazy people will deplete all of the shit, and it will go to the whole civilization will go to shit. I.e., you know what I'm saying, examples, Soviets, Chinese. You know what I'm saying, the Chinese, they killed a lot of people. I think it was like 30, 40 million. And Cuba, I don't know how many died in Cuba, but Cuba was a problem too. But let's be more specific, right? In and of itself, feminism is against nature, like human nature, right? If society is built for the family, which it should be to keep society continuing, you have to build it in a manner where the family can actually work. If two parties are working full time, 40 hours, 80 hours, whatever, can't have a family like that. Because the kids are going to be neglected. It's going to be a problem. So that's why it was best when it was centered around, okay, a woman has to carry the children and nurture in the first coming years, of course. Then we'll prioritize having the woman be the caregiver and the man being the absolute labor slave, respectfully.
You think that the feminist critique of the nuclear family is the product of liberal feminism, you'd be very wrong. Black feminists and queer feminists have pushed those talking points from the margins until they made their way into mainstream. Girl feels valid. It encourages people to recognize that the feminist movement cannot be detached from a critique of capitalism, as capitalism depends on the family, the free labor of women.
The family is not patriarchy. They think the patriarchy in these people's eyes, right, is anything men are in charge of, right? That's the idea. The reason that men lead the family is because that is the natural order. Women want men to lead on average. If you ask the average woman, do you want to lead in a relationship? They're going to say no 10 out of 10. Not 10, like, because there's a couple of girl bosses nowadays. I'll say like 10 times now, right? And patriarchy is when men lead and men win exclusively. This is, the family unit is not men leading and winning exclusively. It's men sacrificing for the family, right? Am I tweaking?
To reproduce capital and the control of their sexuality
right now,
to keep that capital
we ain't living in no patriarchy.
In the family, generation after generation. If you think that the feminist critique of the nuclear family is the product of liberal feminism, you'd be very wrong. Black feminists and queer feminists have pushed those talking points from the margins until they made their way into mainstream white feminism. Black and queer feminists knew from experience within their communities that the concept of the nuclear family was for white middle-class people to help them grow their wealth and pass
Nah, black feminists just got absolutely swindled by the CIA and they ran with it like they're absolutely retards.
On to their offspring. You see, building a nuclear family when the men in your community are disproportionately exposed to risks like drug use, alcoholism, or prison is not easy. Building a nuclear family when you like people of the same gender as you isn't easy. Yet again, the nuclear family with its set
Building the nuclear family when you have people of the same gender as you. If you're dating the same gender as you, children shouldn't be there. I'm sorry. What are you talking about?
gender roles is the best structure to thrive in a capitalist economy.
Yeah,
actually, that speaks
in any economy.
to you. You want to learn more? Highly recommend this book that I'm reading at the moment.
Wages for housework, okay.
All of that isn't really what someone like Kevin refers to when he talks about.
But you see how capitalism absolutely grabbed these women by the brain. Everything has to be paid. Next, they're going to say, I need to be paid to be given birth. What the fuck you talk? Actually, no, they've already said that.
About westernized girls. Clavicular is against all forms of female emancipation. He believes that the best relationships are those in which the woman is a virgin because he can ensure the best pair bonding. And he also...
That is objectively true. Am I missing something, or have there not been multiple studies that say less partners for both people is better? Missing something. Why would he strive somebody who's a thought? Like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Believes that the best outcome for a woman is to rely on her husband's income, which is increasingly difficult in our present economic...
He's a millionaire. Like, you're actually trying to frame this all as his negative. Why is it I wanted to say why is objectively wrong.
System, but also deeply constraining for women.
Why?
There are way too many stories of stay-at-home mothers with little economic capital of their own trapped in abusive households. And again,
Okay, the average, no. Do you see how they always go onto the fringe to try disprove the actual rule? Nobody cares about the exceptions. They're always gonna happen. Nobody cares about that. I'm talking about on average, does that happen? Does it happen the majority of the time? Or even the average? No? Shut up.
Clavicular knows that in a way, as he understands that a woman with a number of past relationships may carry with her traumatic experiences.
Yeah, nobody wants to deal with that. I'm sorry to break it to you. Nobody wants to deal with that.
Experience is good. I'm sure you've...
Good, bad, great, not so great.
Right, of course. That makes you...
Character.
That character...
This is the retarded mindset that we have going on right now. Yeah, I have to go find myself. Yeah, builds character. No, you're just a thought. Let's stop this. I'm out of this degeneracy, bro.
Character is the problem. Right now you have a lot of trauma that's built up.
But he doesn't want to have to deal with that.
People always tell me...
Who wants to volunteer to deal with this bag of shit? Who? Please tell me the person.
I'm so unempathetical for this, but the last thing that any guy needs is to pick up someone else's trauma. It's not something that you want to deal with. So unfortunately, like, sorry that happened to you, but that's not really something I'm looking for.
You see, I almost want to feel bad for Clavicular. The magazine Jacobin tells me that only love can save the Manosphere guys, but that's such a weird take. Love is in effect an immersion, it's like an engine, but it needs direction, a framework, to reveal its potential. For Jacobin, the framework remains the monogamous heterosexual relationship. So yeah, go back to where we started. Women are expected to do the care work, to take those guys out of the Manosphere and turn them into loving and egalitarian boyfriends and husbands.
No, nobody wants to be in an egalitarian relationship. Maybe some feminists do. No man that is not a feminist, because a lot of men are, I'm guessing because they're feminine themselves, want to be in this egalitarian bullshit. Nobody wants that.
Others went as far as claiming that incels should have a right to S. Funded by whom? The government?
Hey man, we got welfare for single mothers. We got welfare for single mothers. Make it work. I'm trolling.
Provided by whom? Alone cannot change the magnitude of patriarchal norms. It's like thinking that Imagine by John Lennon will bring peace.
Okay, I don't understand this, right? Does this French woman understand? Patriarchy will never die, right? For one simple rule. It's very simple. For patriarchy to die, women have to remove their expectation for men to protect and or provide for them. That expectation needs to be removed. If that expectation is not removed, men will strive for that, right? Because men already have the obligation, but then if they realize, okay, this is how I can get it, then they will do it. And with that comes other expectations. And that is the root. But for these women to get their goal of the patriarchy, oh my gosh, now we're girl bosses, it will never occur because these women will never give up that expectation, of course.
In the world, or that David Guetta will end racism.
In honor of George Floyd, shout out to his family.
I never get bored of this one.
I've never seen it in my life. The fuck was that?
I recently saw a clip though that further convinced me of what I've just said. It's from a documentary produced by Max Lolom and it's called High School Radical. Max, a French guy, went to Oklahoma in 2016 as a teenager for a year and realized in 2020 that a lot of the friends he had made at the time supported Donald Trump. He decided to go back to Oklahoma and talk to these people. He ends the documentary by traveling to meet his former bestie in Seattle. He secretly hopes that he doesn't vote for Trump and is scared to ask him to present.
Why would they not vote for Trump? I'm confused. Like, people say these assertions like it's a fact. Like, oh my god, you should know this. No. What? Kamala Harris was absolute dog shit.
Him with the two caps, Harris or Trump, to choose from, as he did with his other friend.
Like, the left is actively, like, towards men in general. Why would they ever, like, listen to that bullshit?
So both of them are in the car, and this is what the friend says.
I have always been great, I think, at seeing a middle.
His relationship changed him.
And then marrying a far liberal...
Love changed him.
I'm a man. Why do I have to say on what a woman does with her body? And that's the biggest arguments we have. Yeah.
Is the most retarded thing I've heard in my entire life. Let me explain. So let me understand this correctly. You are a man. You have no right to say what a woman does with her body. Sure, the baby is not her body. I'm sorry to break it to you. The child is another life form, another DNA. It's not her life, okay? That's half your life, okay? And the woman's nature is to be pregnant and to give birth. That is her nature. Sorry to break it to you. It's biology. Get over it. That is the nature. To actively go against the nature for frivolous reasons is immoral. Respectfully speaking, it is immoral. But beyond that, let's say, cool, you can't say that about women's bodies. Okay, you can't tell men to go to war. That's never happening. Draft out the window, because autonomy, correct? Bodily autonomy. You can't tell men they have to protect or provide. You know what I'm saying? Autonomy, of course. You know what I'm saying? If a man actively watches a woman get her ass shubby, you can't say, oh my gosh, where's all the good men gone? You know what I'm saying? That's gone. Obligation gone. You can't tell men anything, respectfully. Like, you can't tell men anything, and they will also not tell women anything. That's fine. Actively, I can agree to that. But that will never occur, because women will always have the that men will do what they want, but then also expect men to listen to them. Does it make sense?
Country.
He's more moderate now.
But I'm also now more middle. I think you have to be able to see both sides of everything to grow as a person.
And then comes the moment to pick the camp.
Liberalism is mentally retarded, though, respectfully.
Open your eyes and choose one.
Oh, I have to always support who my commander-in-chief is going to be. Gotta do the dance too.
You can't tell me he's not aware that Trump will attack women's rights as soon as he gets into power. Sure. We know he did.
Me wearing this and coughing this.
He didn't attack women's rights. He protected unborn children from murder.
Seeing it, she's gonna shh.
All right.
So we're okay with abuse. So we're okay with physical abuse. I'm confused. Because if the shoe was on the other foot, we would be giggling and laughing. If he jumped out with a pillow, I'm saying, then it would be, oh my god, emotional abuse. You're trying to coerce me to vote for Trump.
Get out of my house. Get out.
Thank you.
Get out.
Now, sure, this is just an anecdote, but I think it's revealing of how the work of making a boyfriend or husband side with your rights as a woman is laborious and will need more than a loving relationship. If
Why? What the fuck are you talking about? What
needs to take care of the Manosphere guys, the Luxmaxers, it's not women, it's society as a whole. The stereotypes that fit their vision of women, the pseudoscientists who feed their forums, the people who platform them for clout and fail to ask the difficult question or fact-check them. It's a collective failure. Do better for the guys who view Luxmaxing, including hammering your face, as the path to live a comfortable, socially rewarding life. And for the girls and women on the receiving end of this misogyny thrown at their faces, both on social media and in real life. Yeah, with this. Do better. That's it for today.
Fucking hell. Yo, man, I appreciate man for watching the video. I'm gonna catch you man tomorrow. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought about this video. And yeah, leave a like and a comment. I already said that. Peace.